I apologize if you hear any sounds in the background. That's cars going by. You might hear my cat. She's in heat. We haven't fixed her yet. And my computer is basically a jet engine. I'm trying to make a video about an anime that affected me. It's not necessarily a good show. It has its bad points. Dot Hack Sign. Now, when you hear about Dot Hack Sign, at first you think that crappy show that had no action, that just talked all the time. It was literally just a bunch of people talking the entire time. And yeah, why would that be interesting? Most people just dismissed it. The big thing to talk about with MMO shows is Sword Art Online, Log Horizon, and ReZero, Konosuba, all that kind of stuff. You know, the newest stuff. Dot Hack's an old show, and it was not positively received. And it probably never... I mean... I don't know. At the very least, it was interesting. It was something. Well, I'll just try and explain, like, what Dot Hack is. This will probably be some nothing video. I might even just put it to, I don't know, maybe some Dot Hack gameplay, maybe a bit of the show. And I plan on making a big video about it. I want to do this. And it's actually very interesting because if there's one thing, because the comparisons with Sword Art Online and Log Horizon are going to be obvious. I don't think Konosuba and ReZero, no. Those shows are in response to Sword Art. I think Dot Hack, if it does anything that's better than both Sword Art and Log Horizon, it's portraying a real MMO that people play in a real world that is very similar to our world. See, that's the thing with Sword Art. You don't really see much of it. In fact, you see less of it than in Dot Hack. In Log Horizon, you see none of the real world. You only assume that their lives are similar. You can, you get a couple glimpses into, what's his name? Glasses guy in Log Horizon. Damn, he's such a good character. How the fuck do I forget his name? You get a good look into who he kind of was as a kid and what his life was like a bit. You can assume a lot. And by the way, I'm assuming a lot in Dot Hack. Not as much as I think I am. I think I'm right. But with Dot Hack Sign, the world is actually very detailed. What's happening? The thing is, you have to actually be looking. See, Dot Hack Sign was released alongside a video game series, a 4-part video game series. Dot Hack Infection, Dot Hack Mutation, which is the one I first played. Actually, I got Mutation first. It's like, here, son, here's The Empire Strikes Back. I heard it's a good show. Whatever. And the next one was Outbreak, and then Mutation. Sorry, not fucking Mutation. And then Quarantine. All of those have to do with separate characters. What's interesting about those games is that it's a PS2 game. This is before the advent of online. I don't think... I'll check it later, but I'm pretty sure WoW was in 2004. Now, yeah, you had EverQuest, and MMOs did exist, but MMOs were still kind of a niche thing that computer gamers played. The PlayStation was meant for, well, the rest of us. Like, computer gaming. Fucking, god damn it. Computer gaming is very, common nowadays, but it wasn't common back then. I barely had internet when I was a kid. I was always either, I had Time Warner for a bit, which was awesome. I did Gaia Online. I did stupid fucking Naruto role plays. And I played a few, dumb games. But I never got into PC gaming. I never had the computer to do it. I never had the connection to do it. And then I switched to not having internet to having satellite internet, which actually was similar to not having internet because you couldn't load anything ever. And so basically it was find something else to do. We had console gaming. We had a PS2. So I played Dot Hack Mutation, and I loved it. It was great. The Dot Hack games are a simulation of an MMO. When you first get into the game, you get a desktop with a different OS called Ultimate OS. And it has the world, which is basically the only game, I guess, or at least it's the most popular game. It's default on Ultimate OS, which is the only OS that survived this is something that's not told to you, by the way. You're told it later in newspaper articles, which I'll get to later. But there was this big virus called Pluto's Kiss that basically terminated the world. It stopped one step. It was about to shoot off nukes, and they were finally able to get it off. The only OS that was spared was Ultimate OS. And that gets deeper, because there's a reason that it was spared. But Ultimate OS became the only thing. Just like, Windows is most computers. Well, this is all of them. And the world, the MMO, is created by CyberConnect, who is an offshoot of Ultimate OS. So, the world is right at the top. Then you get let's see. You get these news articles. I have to look at it. One sec. Maybe I'll delete this section. Maybe I won't. Oh, there it is. All right. You get the world at the top. Then you get a news thing, like a news button, and you get all the news that's happening in the real world, and they're just articles. Then you get accessories, which is shit you can. I think it's music and shit. Whatever that's whatever. You get email, where characters get to email you, and that's how you talk to people. That's how you party up. You can either talk to them normally, and they'll always, unless they're doing something story-wise, they'll always come. But you get quests through your email, then audio, which is extra shit, file data, video game stuff. You click into the world, and there's also a message board, and it has all the details of the game, just like in regular video games nowadays, where you can go to Reddit, and you can just read everything you need to know about the game, how everything works in vast detail. And then you get all the stories that are happening in the world. That happens in both the game and the show. In Dot Hack Sign, they reference the message board. Say, hey, did you see what happened on the message board? Did you see what that post? This is a real world where information spreads fast. And that's the thing about Dot Hack Sign. It was never about the action. And, well, of course, the games were interactive. It was the action was obvious. Whatever. The video games were a simulation of an MMO because once you go into the world, there are all kinds of people everywhere running around because you go to a root town. That's the server. And you just see a bunch of people walking around. Now, they're all NPCs. They are all fake people. But they all have things that they want. They all talk about the game. They're all talking to each other. And you can trade them. Every single person, you actually, you get to kind of, not know people, but you're like, oh, I recognize that character. That's the character that wants, 50 barrels of water for some reason, and he's going to give me a stat book. And that's how you get, certain items. You have to find rare items, valuable items, and trade them. Now, the trading system's kind of broken. You can get whatever. The only thing that you can't get is people who want specific shit. But any item that people want, you can, buy, 99 fucking potions. And here's fucking 50 potions. There you go. And you can get those items. And you can literally... You don't even have to go look for weapons. You can trade weapons. If you get on the server and all the people who are there are random. Because everyone's getting on at random times. You don't know when someone's going to be on. You might see the same person. You might not. At least that's how I understood it. I never... maybe some... I've never heard of people being able to track, everyone. I don't think anyone would look that deep into it. But as far as I was concerned, it was random. And you had to just kind of hope that person you want is there. And yeah, you can get an entire new set of weapons and gear, all from the people you trade with. You can even get weapons that are higher level than what you can even reach. So let's say you're level 15 and this guy has level 20 daggers. Okay, well, I want those level 20 daggers even if I'm not level fucking 15. So I'm going to give him 3 resurrects and he's going to give it to me and he's going to think it's a great deal because he's a fucking idiot piece NPC. But whatever, that's really awesome. You don't have to go searching for shit. What's also very interesting about the game is that the way, and all this has to do with .hack sign, by the way, because everything in the game happens in the show. And it's all diegetic. It's all there. It's just not told outright. .hack sign expects you to think about everything that's happening in the show. The way that the chaos gates work is that you have to combine 3 words and that will make a randomly generated world. There are certain words that you use to get to story areas. I know Hidden Forbidden Holy Ground, that's the cathedral that occurs in the show, that all of the major shit happens at Hidden Forbidden fucking Holy Ground. You fight your first data bug there, you meet Balmung there, everything happens there. And it's very interesting. When people tell you where to go, they give you 3 words and you just fucking put them in and you go. So the game is it's a good simulation of an MMO, and it's very interesting because there, to my knowledge, has never been a video game like that ever. At least I've never seen one. If you guys know something about it, tell me. But as far as I know, the .hack series is the only games that simulate an MMO, and to that detail. So all that matters in Sign, because Sign, get this, Sign is actually in a earlier patch. See, Sign is a prequel. The world that you go into is, I think it's called the world version 2, and Sign is in the world version 1.83. The game has patches, and in .hack Roots it's called the world 2, volume 2 or some shit like that, V2 version 2. It's like if WoW made 2 or EverQuest 2, completely different world. You can know what the world's gonna be like just based on the patch notes. The patch notes of a fake MMO in a story that, in a video game that effectively is simulating itself. It's simulating a world that is affected by this video game. Now, the reason I say, did I talk about? God, I'm getting sidetracked. There's so much to talk about this show, and that's why. See, I'm doing this off the cuff, and I plan on making a very coherent video. I'm not just gonna fucking babble. I'm writing right now, but writing takes a lot, and honestly, I'm really fucking depressed and angry, and I don't know why. So I just wanted to talk. I want to make something, and I'm just gonna go for it. It's gonna be rambling, and it's gonna be bad. I don't expect anyone to listen to this, and I honestly don't want anyone to listen to this, but it's just for me. So, .hack sign. 1 second. I had to check on my cat. She's annoying. Alright. So, while I was gone, I remembered why I'm doing this. I hate my cat. I hate that cat so much. We have to fucking... Let's try that again, I guess. The reason I'm doing this is not just to talk to myself for however the fuck long this takes. I don't care how long it takes. But to collect my thoughts, because I have a lot of them, and this show means a lot to me. In fact, I can honestly say, as far as fans go, I may actually be the only person in the world who is thinking this hard about .hack sign. Because .hack sign, to me, if it did anything better than Sword Art Online and Log Horizon, it's that the characters were just deeper, and their problems were very real and very, not exaggerated. When something was bad, it was bad for a correct reason. I'm just gonna go down the characters. And to start off, we're gonna start off with fucking Shinji Ikari. Sorry, my bad. I mean Tsukasa. Shinji Ikari is the closest thing in comparison. Tsukasa is depressed. And it's that simple. Here's the thing about depression. I know a lot of depressed people. I know people who've been depressed before, and here's the thing. I think everyone gets that way. And some reasons are better than others, but Tsukasa has really good reasons. Tsukasa's mother died. She has a very alcoholic and abusive father who seems to hate her and actually attempts to murder her while she's in a coma. Oh yeah, Tsukasa's a girl, by the way. Spoiler for episode 3. I don't know. And she is highly agoraphobic. To those who don't know, she has a fear of people, which to me goes with depression hand in hand. If you are depressed, you are either... I say scared of people, but you are scared... It's that porcupine effect that they were talking about in Evangelion, where you're scared of getting people close to you. See, Tsukasa has huge trust issues, because basically every adult in her life and every person in her life, because she doesn't have friends at the start of the show. Everyone, she has reason to be suspect. She's never been given love that didn't come with strings attached. Her father seem to hate her very existence for reasons we don't know about, but we can all assume, because that's a human thing. We know if a father hates his daughter, the reasons they're very few, but they're very specific. More than likely, he lost his wife, and he maybe blamed her. Maybe he just went crazy and couldn't live without her. Maybe he didn't care about his wife at all, and he just didn't want to raise a kid alone. Who knows? We don't know much about him. He's a piece of shit. We're talking about Tsukasa. Tsukasa is scared of people, and scared of that connection, scared of getting too close, because everyone she's ever gotten close to hurts her. So she escapes to a world that is almost indistinguishable from real life, as far as we know. This isn't quite nerve gear. They use a controller and they use a visor, but the way they interact with people, you can pretty much assume that this is about as close to VR as we are kind of right now. We're almost getting there. We can kind of assume that this world might as well be a real world, and that matters because the world is a very popular game in this show. Ultimate OS is in 100% of all technology, and the world seems to be like either auto-installed or, again, just really popular. Because why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you get curious? Something else that's very interesting about the cast of this show is that they're very diverse. There's not just one type. You have in Akihabara, a good variety of characters, but nothing that's too crazy. In Dot Hack Sign, we have a 47-year-old man, and we have a 4th grader. We have what's it called? I guess we have, again, people in high school. We have company men, just regular guys who do their job and just come in to let off steam. We have guys who are super hardcore role players who believe that this world is basically a second reality. And as far as they are concerned, they come into this world to be a different person. We have people who use the world as just an escape, and that's more in line with Tsukasa. See, Tsukasa eventually, the main point of the show is that Tsukasa eventually can't log out. In fact, that's what happens at the start of the show. And we don't learn why until much later. All we know is that she has voices in her head. The voice of what claims to be her mother. And it's coming from the game. The game is telling her, you can be in this world forever. You never have to leave anymore. You can avoid everyone and just be you, me, and this floating girl on top of a bed named Aura. And we'll just be together forever. Of course, there's a reason for that. But Tsukasa was just, as far as she's concerned, given everything she wants. And it's a very depressing thing because everything she wants is to be left alone and for someone to truly care about her without strings attached, without the chance of getting hurt. And Morgana, I'm just going to say who she is. Morgana, the disembodied voice that's telling Tsukasa all these things, is not only does that, but gives her the entire world, basically. Morgana gives Tsukasa 2 things. One, the ability to travel anywhere without the use of a chaos gate. So she doesn't have to go back to a server, which servers are filled with people, unless she wants to. And 2, she gives Tsukasa the Guardian. The Guardian is like a dumbbell, a gel dumbbell with a bracelet in the middle. I'll show a picture of it. Maybe I don't know I'll show a picture of it, and it's basically the strongest monster in the game besides bugged monsters. It can kill anyone. It has basically infinite health. The only way to destroy a guardian is either using another guardian, which we see later on, or using a full 5-man party. You have to have a full party to beat it. Otherwise, you're just going to lose. And honestly, even then, you still need coordination. And so that's protection and freedom that Tsukasa was just given. And also, the ability to avoid real life. Tsukasa no longer has to go back. And Tsukasa is very happy about that. Well, happy's not the word. Tsukasa is relieved. Relieved that she never has to go back to see that. That being said, it seems like Tsukasa also has a slight bit of amnesia. Doesn't quite remember everything about what her life is, so that's even better because all she knows about her old life is that it was horrible. The entire point of the show is getting Tsukasa out of the game. Tsukasa spends 6 months in this game, 6 months straight, while her real body is in a coma. In a vegetative state. Not brain dead, vegetative. So, a big thing about her being in the game is self-identity, escapism, all these things that have to do with what MMOs make you feel like, what it is to truly lose yourself in a world. And everyone does it in a different way, and some of it's positive and some of it is very negative. There are some characters that get a lot of development, and some characters get very little. Some that are more interesting than others. The second character I'm going to talk about is Mimiru, who she's very nice, and she's the one who looks like Black Rose if you played the games. She's the first person who meets Tsukasa, and is actually the first person to truly offer her friendship. And this is true friendship. She doesn't allow Tsukasa to necessarily get away with being how she is. She's very blunt with her, and until she learns how Tsukasa really is, all right, let me go back. So she meets Tsukasa in a fucking dungeon, and she's like, "Hey, what's up? You want to party up?" She's a very inviting person immediately. Which, by the way, this is something that I relate to because I've played MMOs before, and if there's one thing that's common in MMOs, it's that there's a lot of people who don't talk to people in MMOs. They just do their thing and kind of go. And that's how I was in both World of Warcraft, in Guild Wars 2, and Final Fantasy 15. I have a hard time talking to people because I have a hard time talking to people in real life. And Tsukasa basically just ignores her and leaves immediately. She sees her later and she's like, why'd you go? And Tsukasa says, you're annoying, you're bugging me, get away. It's not until later that Mimiru realizes that Tsukasa can't log out and decides to help Tsukasa because she's just a helpful person. She wants to help. And eventually Mimiru becomes probably her most faithful friend because at a certain point in time, a big part of the show is that everyone wants information about Tsukasa and what's happening with her, because what's happening with her is something that's against the game. Tsukasa can go in between servers whenever she wants. Doesn't log out ever. To the point that the system admins don't even believe, they just kind of believe Tsukasa's a hacker. They don't really think that she's a victim until later on. And what's it called? Shit. Everyone has a distrust of Tsukasa, or a few of them have a distrust of Tsukasa, and some of them seem to want to take advantage of Tsukasa, because this is something that anytime anything happens that goes against the game, it is pointed to something called the Key of the Twilight, which is an item that essentially allows you to break the game. And everyone seems to want, at the very least, to know what it is, or some of them straight up want the Key of the Twilight, because Key of the Twilight is basically the point of the game. I'm going to stop just because there's a train, and I'll start back up in a bit. Alright. I think I was talking about why Mimiru is important. Well, basically, everyone wants Tsukasa around for a different reason, but Tsukasa naturally avoids everyone. So anyone who can get in contact with Tsukasa is now incredibly valuable. And Mimiru is the first person who Tsukasa will willingly talk to the point that Bear shows up. Bear, another character who is awesome, by the way. In fact, I think the most awesome character in the entire show for a very specific reason. But Bear shows up instead of Mimiru at one point, because the last time they met, like, fucking Tsukasa burned out. Very insensitive. Whatever. Bear shows up, and Tsukasa, again, just kind of burgs out, like, I didn't call you, I want Mimiru here. Oh, she's not here. She must obviously hate me now. And that's the first thing Tsukasa goes to. Oh, someone didn't want to talk to me. That must be my fault. Okay, I'm just gonna leave now, because I'm not gonna get close to anyone. And Mimiru's the first person that basically becomes Tsukasa's friend. And that's important, because Tsukasa gaining friends and gaining happiness goes directly against Morgana, the main antagonist of the show. The next character I'll go through, I guess, is Bear. Bear is fucking awesome. He is I think it's 47-year-old man. You know, he's a fucking adult. He has a kid. He has a wife. His kid is like an adult now, and he's kind of a piece of shit. He comes up asking for money for a car payment. He's like, come on, old man. You know, give it up. Don't act like we're close. You know, you want to be part of my life? Be a monetary part of my life. You know, a piece of shit, son. And basically, his first family, shit. You know, he fucked up somehow, and that's why he's in the world. See, it's interesting, right? Because in Log Horizon, everyone was forced into the world. In Sword Art, everyone was forced into the world. Everyone in Dot Hack is there willingly, for very interesting reasons. Bear is trying, basically, again, to avoid, you know, some of the nastier parts of life. In this one, Bear can be a protector. You know, he's a warrior type. He helps people. He's usually the voice of reason in the group. Anytime that... his main problem is that sometimes he gets too involved, or sometimes he gets too preachy. For instance, you know, and again, that's what I like about the characters, because there's always... Every character in this show is a very positive person and a very good person. But they all have something that they do that's not quite great. And that's very human. Bear, at one point, starts lecturing Tsukasa about, hey, I mean, if you're going to be in the world, you might as well be doing something. Want to go on a raid? You know, which, yeah, it sounds like a simple thing, but Tsukasa gets really offended, and that's because Bear didn't quite understand Tsukasa's point of view. By this time, Tsukasa had been in the world for a very long time already, and Bear just kind of assumed, oh, you're just wasting your time in a game, being depressed. You might as well do that. He didn't quite. He took a misstep with Tsukasa, and that's one of his faults. He tried to dad Tsukasa without really fully understanding where Tsukasa's coming from, and basically Tsukasa's brand of depression. But eventually, Bear does something really awesome, and I'll get to it later, but it's big. And I'm going to make it a big part of the video when I get to it. By the way, I'm going to write this out, and this is going to be a long series. I'm putting a lot of effort into it, and I don't know how many people are going to watch, but I'm very passionate about it, and I feel it. I think this is the one. Next character is BT. BT, she's pretty cool. Like if anyone was like, I guess what you could call the boring character, it would be her. But she's also very interesting because she is, again, just a very lonely person. But she hides it behind a facade of being clever and outsmarting, acting like she's always the smartest person in the room and acting jaded. She hides all of her insecurities with her character. She uses the world to hide aspects of herself that she doesn't like. Her character is the embodiment of everything she wants to be but isn't. She wants to be this cunning, conniving woman who gets everything she wants through outsmarting people, but it turns out she's actually very caring, and she's very lonely. A big part, which it's actually both one of the it's a strangely it's a very human thing, but the way that people name their characters is very meaningful. Her name is BT. She says she named herself after her favorite food, but she took the one thing that she doesn't like out of it. A BLT club sandwich, or is it just a BLT sandwich? Whatever. And she doesn't like lettuce because lettuce is apparently tasteless, and it neither adds to nor takes away from. It's just kind of there, and that says a lot about who she is. She is everything she wants to be, everything she likes in the world. She's everything she wants to be and everything she likes, but with the one thing that she thinks is either negative or doesn't help at all and is just kind of tasteless, taken away, and just kind of this paradigm of what she considers perfection. She's also the one who tends to she tends to be the selfish one. One of the first things that we notice is that she'll screw people over to get information. She actually puts Tsukasa in a trap where she tells Mimiru and Bear that there's another heavy blade who has a guardian, and to make sure Tsukasa knows about that she heard that rumor, and she spreads that rumor everywhere. Reason being is that they're trying to lead Tsukasa out. Now this is pretty tricky of her because she is she's actually the most knowledgeable about where Tsukasa is, in her mindset, because Tsukasa, if she were to hear that someone else got something that she got, that she thought her mother, her new god, gave to her as a gift to make her special, and someone else got it, of course Tsukasa's going to be curious and going to want to go see. So she tells Mimiru and Bear about that rumor, and Mimiru tells Tsukasa about it, and eventually they realize, oh shit, it's a trap, and Tsukasa gets captured by the fucking Crimson Knights, which, by the way, is another kind of fucked up part of the story, because if there's one thing you have to know about .hack sign, it's that you need to, in order to enjoy this show, you need to be able to empathize with people and empathize with a world that maybe doesn't exist, because .hack is one of the closest animes I've ever seen to real life. Like, everything in the show is actually very plausible. The idea of an AI singularity shit, that's science fiction, and it's something that we're gonna eventually get to. It's nothing about .hack as of in these, because I don't know anything about Roots. I don't know anything about GU. I'll play those later. I don't give a shit right now. I'm focusing on this. But everything that's in these shows, in these video games, is very plausible. This could have happened. So, when I tell you this, please understand that it is important. Because Tsukasa gets captured by the Crimson Knights and basically imprisoned. This is a video game. In a video game, now here's the thing: like, if they were just capturing like a player character, I'm sure they've done it before. Like, at the very least, that character could log off and like come back, like do their time or whatever. At the very least, like, kill themselves and then respawn somewhere. Like, there's a billion different ways. Tsukasa not only feels pain, but also cannot log out. So they literally, unlawfully, without a warrant, without any real evidence, they imprisoned a little girl. I don't know how old she is, 14, 16-year-old girl. They imprisoned her in a fucking jail cell. That's so many different ways of illegal. And another good character in the show, I just saw this show. What's her name? Fucking chick in the blue. One sec, let me pause it, because this is fucking Subaru. Okay, cool, the car. Yeah, Subaru. One sec, let me take a drink. Like, notices, hey guys, so if this person can't log out, we just imprisoned someone, and that's a felony. Like, I know we're in Japan, and like, you know, I'm assuming laws are weird here, you know, but I'm pretty sure this is still illegal, and just like let Tsukasa go. And, you know, the only thing that Subaru gets out of it is that she talks to him. She gets to talk to him and learn a bit more about him, and you know. And that's one of the first real situations where we realize how serious this really is. Because a video game that puts people in a coma is bad. This is a product that's meant to entertain you, and it is threatening your life. It makes the world so much more real without having to resort to the game literally trying to kill you, because the game's not trying to kill you. I'm going to take a bit of time to explain the overarching plot. This is so far the fucking recording is 45 minutes. If I cut it down, then I'll it might be like 40 minutes. So this is already fucking long. But I'm going to go ahead and try and explain the main purpose of the show, which is actually kind of complex. See, where do I start? I'll go into more detail in the videos, but basically, the world was created to make the perfect AI. The way that it's being made is shit. Okay. Scratch that. The creator of the world was in love with a woman, and this woman wrote a poem called The Epitaph of Twilight. And it basically served as the foundation for the world. It wasn't like a program or anything, it was just a poem. And she eventually died. And the main programmer for the world, who was in love with her, I'm not sure if they were together, but she was definitely in love with her. He created the world, or I think he wanted to get funding to create the AI, but no one's gonna do that. No one's gonna fund that. But you know what they are gonna fund? A video game. So he uses this video game to study human interaction. Think about it. Millions of players get on and experience a second life. They experience both good things and bad things. All aspects of human emotion can be seen in a video game. That is honestly, that might even be the only way to truly create an artificial intelligence, because think about, an artificial intelligence has to be smart enough or strong enough to be able to rewrite itself on the fly and adapt to all these different situations that humans do every single day. That's what makes us human. The fact that our brains, we learn, we change every day. The person I was even this morning isn't the same person I am right now. And all that has to be done in calculations. And there's too much data for every aspect of the human psyche. So the creator uses this game to make Aura. And in order to watch over Aura, because I'm assuming he died. I'm not sure about it. I'll look it up later. I'll have the information whenever I make the fucking video. But either way, he puts another program in the world to watch over Aura. That's called Morgana. Morgana has a full name, but I'm just going to call her Morgana. Morgana is a simple AI that watches over Aura and makes sure that Aura can be completed. See, here's the thing. When Aura is completed, she is supposed to rewrite Morgana and basically take over the world. The game. And yeah, that conflicts with Morgana's self-preservation. Basically, it creates a paradox with Morgana. So Morgana, having learned all these things, because Morgana is also learning about human interaction, because Morgana is actually 8 different programs, all designed to study a different facet of the human experience, and a lot of really the darkest experiences. One sec, let me pause it just so I can get the list. Now, well, alright, now this information that I'm about to give you is apparently, because I'm looking at the fucking .hack wikia, and it says that the validity is not true, because, no, the reason being is because all this information is found on the liminality discs, the discs that you get with the video games, the anime, which, by the way, I haven't watched yet. I will watch them. I know the gist of what happens in them, but I can't go into too much detail about the movies themselves. But there's information on the discs that was released by apparently Bandai Namco, and because it was released by them and not CyberConnect, technically these things aren't valid. Like it doesn't come from the source. So as far as the story is concerned, it's supposed to be non-canon. Here's the thing. I don't really give a shit, because these came on the liminality discs. As far as I'm concerned, that's a first-party source. And this makes the story a lot more interesting. Because in the games, this is after Sign. and I know this is all like skipping things, but I kind of have to. Again, this is for me. In the games, Morgana, all the bosses are Morgana split into 8 different phases. Phases of something called the Cursed Wave, which is actually mentioned in the Epitaph of Twilight. They all represent a different facet of basically the worst parts of, well, being a human. Phase 1 is Skeeth, the Terror of Death. It was a program designed to collect data on human emotions and reactions to death. So yeah, that happens quite a bit in an MMO. Phase 2, Innis, the Mirage of Deceit, which is basically like this like hieroglyph wall thingy. It's designed to collect data on human reactions to, well, deceit, the Mirage of Deceit. That kind of makes sense. Magus, the Propagation. This program was designed to collect data on the human need to procreate and preserve the species. Fidchel, the Prophet. This program was designed to collect data on the human concept of an unavoidable fate. This is fucking awesome. I love this part. Phase 5, Gore, the Schemer. This program was designed to collect data on human cruelty. Phase 6, Maka the Temptress, which is actually a character in .hack Sign, the cat. This program was designed to collect data on human jealousy, revenge, and other dark emotions. Wait, my bad. I fucking read the next one. God damn it, I suck. Alright. Maka the Temptress. This program was designed to collect data on human affection, but only that occurs during unrequited love. That's a very interesting thing because that actually goes with Maka and what kind of character Maka is. Very interesting character. Doesn't say a damn word in the sign, but Maka does have a character. Tarvos, which is the one I said before. The Avenger. Program was designed to collect data on human jealousy, revenge, and other dark emotions. Then Phase 8, the final boss, Korbanek, the Rebirth. He has 3 different forms. First form represents the human attachments to life. Second form is human attachments to death, and the final form is the pure heart. Whatever the fuck that means. So all of these are a part of Morgana Mode Gone, which, by the way, that's the full name of the artificial intelligence Morgana. All of these different things are used to understand the human psychology. So Morgana understands people, knows people at their worst, and even better, knows how to manipulate people. Now, I lost my train of thought because there's so much fucking information. So, I'll just go back to Sign. So, Tsukasa got caught, and they let him go, and she's fucked up. I'll go with just like the major story hitches because eventually, like, Tsukasa's getting better and learns, like, people learn more about what's happened to her. And, like, here's the thing, Morgana doesn't want Tsukasa to be happy, and there's a reason for that. See, Morgana, I remember I told you, is trying to... there's a paradox. If Morgana completes Aura, Morgana gets basically rewritten, which is actually pretty interesting because it goes into one of Tsukasa's things where Tsukasa doesn't necessarily know if Tsukasa in the video game is the real Tsukasa or not. So it gives him a big old fucking identity crisis and fucking, yeah, that's great. Morgana, as a program, as, something something that values its own existence, cannot allow Aura to be birthed. But Morgana can't destroy Aura. So Morgana can only do one thing: prevent Aura from happening. Now, Aura is being completed through learning more and more about humans. So eventually Aura will be completed. It's inevitable. It's almost like some sort of what was it called? That undeniable fate thing. You know, and in order to prevent Aura from happening, Morgana directly links Aura's development with Tsukasa, and Tsukasa's basically terrible demeanor and attitude, and depression and self-destructiveness. Basically, Tsukasa hates himself. Tsukasa is linked to Aura, and Aura starts basically to destroy herself and become corrupted because of basically Tsukasa's mood is directly linked to Aura. If Tsukasa's having a bad time, Aura's having a bad time. At the very least, Aura's not growing because Tsukasa is stagnant. Aura will only be awakened when Tsukasa is okay with who she is. And the thing is, Tsukasa is depressed and scared as fuck most of the time. So, let's see how long have I been going? I want to talk for a bit more. I guess this is going to be part 1 because there's a lot to this show, and I don't know if it's my favorite right now. After all this research, it probably will be, but and it's so crazy that this show and this game came out and they happened, because I don't think anything like this could ever happen again. There have been video games made that are supposed to link to TV shows. I think it was Quantum Break was supposed to do that, right? Yeah, that didn't work out. There was an MMO that was supposed to link to a TV show. That didn't work out. Usually this doesn't work, but this game series works together so well, and no one, as far as I can tell, really notices. I'll have to research more into what people said about it in the past. Like maybe I'll read a Game Informer. I'll look up articles and stuff like that. But as far as I know, Dot Hack has always been seen as the one show that never was able to get any credit because it was too boring. And honestly, I don't blame anyone. It's a boring show. But the exciting part about it is that it has some of the best human interactions. And I'm just going to leave it